One thing I hope for when it's my turn and my time to teach and be able to raise my own seeds and water them, if that ever does come, because I do realize for the way that I am, I would get so fucking violent, no doubt about it. Like, you even think about fucking touching my goddamn child, I will have your fucking head buried into the concrete so fucking deep. Like, the anger that I wish I would have had to protect myself as a child, I would definitely use over all my children. And that's even if I own an orphanage and have 40 children. I don't give a fuck from the ugliest ones to the prettiest one because they're my children. They're all fucking beautiful in my eyes. But from the ugliest ones to the prettiest ones, the most able to the most disabled one, I would fucking beat the absolute shit out of anybody, including my own staff members if I had it. Just for the fact of the matter is, what most people neglect to think is, weren't you there at one point? It's climbing the ladder, but this is something that everybody has to climb the ladder to. Nobody fucking wakes up and is like, okay, that's hard to say because might be some people had a coma at fucking 2, 3 years old and didn't wake up because the parents had the money and the funding until they're like 20 or 30 like that. But for the most part, most people grow up and develop and grow through from baby, so infant to toddler to kid to adolescent to preteen to teen to full blown adult to later middle-aged adult to fucking senior citizen. So that's essentially supposed to be the stages. For the fact that not all of us makes it all the way to senior citizen before we die. Some of us don't even make it out of the infant stage. Some of us don't make it out of adolescence. Some of us don't make it out of the teen stage, preteen. Like, there's so many steps where you can get fucking got before there. But let's assume that you make it that far. The fucked up part is there's so many stories to you, and I don't even feel excited to tell any of mine. And I think it's more or less because of how I was, well, clearly this is how I was brought up, and that's why I keep trying to reinforce in all the videos. It's the start. For the fact that you started, great. But it's the start that's so fucking important. And there's always chances to fix it up and just let's fix it up, shine it up, and fix the issue before it becomes an issue. But I do believe in certain instances there is such thing as too late, even though in other instances I'll say there are no such thing as too late. But it just really all depends on what it is. It'd basically be like if you had a concert and the ticket says for a specified date and you passed the day or you try to go earlier. Well, you were too early, doofus. It's too late, doofus. Why the flip? Like, it's doofus. There's a perfect time for it and you might have missed it. I believe I might have missed some times with people in my personal life that I interacted with, or honestly, it just was never meant to be. And like, how I thought is if it was supposed to be, it will be no matter what. And also, if it's for a timestamp, then it just means, well, if it was meant to be, like, is this the only time that I'll ever get the time to? Like, the window's never gonna open, is forcefully welded shut, and it's just like, never again, never again, never again. And then in certain instances, yes, like in a death matter, but I don't always believe that death is death. I do believe that the energy still lingers, or a source of somewhat lingers, and you could always talk to them, just not physically. But you could always talk to them, and essentially they're not imprisoned by the body, so they could always honestly be wherever the fuck you want them to be with you. Just make sure you have them stand outside the hallway if you're having sex. Out of respect. So, the more that I've learned, the more I've come to gather. The reason why I am the way that I am is clearly a lot to my upbringing, and also a lot to the way the community that I am in is. So location. I can never stress that enough. And then the people that I allow around me and the voices I allow into my head, aside from the voices that already just come as it is. And I want to say I've been a lot better about just allowing anybody and everybody around me, which I've had an ex-friend of mine tell me that you're too open, you're too available, and I'm just like, yeah, so what does that mean? What the fuck? And it wasn't until a couple years later, I've come to encompass on what she exactly meant. And I realized that, like, the more times I have to actually slow down and think, because I'm always moving, I'm always thinking, but for the fact that I'm always moving, I'm always thinking, there's always things to see because I'm more or less thinking of what's in my physical reality. But when I'm not moving as much. I'm literally just rewinding, thinking, how'd this conversation go? How'd that conversation go? How'd this interaction go? How'd that interaction go? Was I too aggressive? Was I too fast? Did I speak clear? Did I even listen well enough? What the fuck was going on? Am I in trouble? Blah, this, blah, that. So as I'm going through it, I'm trying to figure out, what do these interactions benefit me? Are they beneficial? Or because a lot of my life I played video games. I still currently do. It's just not as much because my system's being shitty. I don't really have the spark to. Because for me personally, you can reject me as many times as you want to, but I'm not. And I do get that. People are going to feel like that. Some people are. And that's why I don't get as offended as I used to when I was younger. Because it's nice to be involved, even though I'm going to want to say no. It's nice to be thought of, even though I'm going to want to say no. But it's just, I say no so often because I always overthink of, what if this goes, what if this goes, what if that goes. I never think, what if I have fun? Because there's always that option. What if I have fun? I'm always thinking, what if there's a bunch of racist people there and they want to do a Ku Klux Klan meeting? I always think, what if there's a bunch of police officers that just don't give a fuck about minorities and then they just want to take me jokes and look different? And I think, what if there's a bunch of Karens there and they're just racist? A lot of these are racism ones. And then I just think of, what if there's a bunch of kids there and their parents aren't giving a shit about them and the kids are just, I don't know, becoming terrorists. I see it. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen this kid in 10 to 15 years. This kid's probably gonna try to rap me. Like, there's always things I'm thinking of. I'm like, why is it always like that? And like, I've been a little bit more recently trying to retrain my worry thoughts instead of being like, oh, what if I get pulled over? Be like, oh, what if I forget the keys to my fucking Bugatti or I lose the keys to my BMW? And I used to be like, oh, what if she doesn't like me? It's like, oh, what if there's too many people and I don't have enough time and attention to give it to them? So I've been trying to at least rewire my worries, but it still doesn't stop the fact that because of my upbringing, I'm just predestined to be fucking paranoid. I keep telling you guys, like, I was crazy before the drugs came, but how do I explain that to people that don't really get it or people that don't really want to listen? So I figure I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. You guys are going to listen to what the fuck you want to listen, and we'll go from there. And that's my new thought and belief from couple days forward, because the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how much I argue, it doesn't matter how much my color doesn't change, because I'm not the one that changes color, even though I'm the colored folk, you're Caucasian folks. So it doesn't matter how much I explain, it doesn't matter how much I elaborate, it's just, it is what it is. Either you'll see it or you won't. And it doesn't matter how many proofs I bring, because I've come to realize that from my own personal investigations and stuff like that, which is why in my personal time, if I do give you the time and energy and talk to you guys, I'm not going to prod and poke for questions, even though I will admit certain things I hear, I'm just like, ooh, I want to know more. But it's rude to ask questions, but it's also rude to assume. Fuck! And all those fucking back and forths have always bothered me. It's like, there's no such thing as a stupid question, and then you hear, that's a stupid question. You're always welcome. Get the fuck out now. Do whatever you want. Don't do that! You're a joy of my world. I knew I should have fucking aborted you. What are other lines that people tend to say and don't really, like, when I'm saying these, I'm intending that they're literally said from the same exact person. It's just like, how are you going to tell me this one moment and tell me that the next moment? So which one's exactly the truth? Or is it just depending on how you feel? Which is why I take to heart when they say do not drive on emotions, and they're clearly meaning driving the car, but at the same time, your body essentially is a vehicle, I would assume, and I would say, because isn't this not my body, or is this my body? Which one's my body? Either way, I got this body checked out, because it's cheaper than this fucking body. I shit you not, I've paid way more shit for the car that I have for my own personal health. But I've been able to manage my personal health pretty darn well enough to where it doesn't actually debilitate and or disable me to the point where I can't be monetized, because if I can't be monetized, then, well, take me behind the barn, but you can't kill yourself. We have to do it. That's literally what I keep thinking about. The whole entire, don't kill yourself, but go ahead and kill yourself. You have to be stressed out, crippled, and we're going to keep bouncing off because that's who the fuck I am. And it's fucking hard as hell to be able to figure out what helps me, because you guys have to agree that it's helpful towards me, even though it helps me. Yeah, I was confused too. So I've stopped trying to show you guys what's helpful and beneficial to me because I've come to learn and I've came to make up my own rules about myself. If I'm not molesting anybody, if I'm not kidnapping anybody, if I'm not murdering anybody, if I'm not forcing my thoughts and opinions on anybody negatively, if I'm not harassing anybody, which I'm pretty sure goes with number 4. But if I'm not doing any of those 4 things, then essentially I'm always going to be in the right in my world, in my reality, in my view, because everybody has different views, everybody has different rules, everybody, like I keep reinforcing, some people think I'm best dead. So do I, but stop it, you Ku Klux members. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Just go and fucking take over another country. Or go back to Great Britain. Original thought. So kids, they need to be cherished and thought about more because the fact of the matter is they grow up to be the next senator, the next boss, next CEO, the next doctor, the next nurse, this next. Remember when you were the next? Because I do. I still could be. I'm still in it because I'm still alive. Like, honestly, kind of confused the fuck out of me. How the hell are all of our senators and representatives going to be our grandparents? I've worked with the elderly. And I, too, have bad memories. So how the fuck am I going to look at these people like, y'all were around when slavery was fine. Y'all were around when LGBTQ was just a bunch of letters thrown around in a room but never put together. Y'all guys was around when shit that's not even around it. How the fuck y'all outliving things that were fucking built to outlive you guys? Is what confuses me. So why the hell are none of my representatives looking like anybody that represents me? That's what's always confused me. So it's just like, how the fuck does this help me? You say it's helpful, but doesn't everybody? The best way to commit a crime is by not letting anybody know that you're doing it. From what I've come to learn, you just got to be patient with yourself and be patient with others, because if you listen well enough, they'll snitch on themselves. And that's what I've been good about. Because I will admit, I do talk a lot, but I've also been told by people you don't really talk much. I've also been told by people you seem to be outspoken. I've also been told by people you're an idiot. I've been told you're a genius. I've been told you're God's. I've been told you're a hellbent. I've been told, wow, that's fucked up. And I've been told, wow, that's pretty awesome. And I've been told. And throughout the mixings, I've just been thinking of the stories that I've seen, stories I've heard, stories I've seen through movies or videos, through personal videos, through, like I said, movies, and then through my own personal experiences. I'm just like, you don't even know what the concept of bad is. Or it's just like, you might have a point. Just because I remember all the stories you've told me, things that you've seen and you've been around, I try to realize, what validation do you guys have in the things that you say? Does it really matter? It doesn't matter if I don't agree. So it's mind over matter. And then this is my matter. And then my mind doesn't? Not really. Most of the times. And I keep thinking, like, what's the difference between a stranger complimenting you and somebody that you give a shit about? Exactly. Not a damn thing aside from they know me. And they chose to compliment me. And I choose to take it as a compliment, regardless if I do or don't. They don't know me. How dare they be looking at me? How dare they sexualize me? Come on! There is more to me! Like, for me as a dude, I realized for me to get sexually harassed and for me to get sexually assaulted comes more or less off as a compliment than it does as an insult, because that attraction isn't shown to us all that often. Or maybe it is. Well, not at least like the compliments. Well, like, I will admit, I didn't even realize as a dude that I get complimented way more than other dudes just because I have it from my first person perspective and I don't really go out too often. But the things I typically get complimented on are my smile, my character on the way that I treat people around me, and my poetry. Well, not really. It's not even up there. Definitely smile and personality would be top 2. Smile is easily number 1. But what would be the third one? Because I was thinking about how I bring calming and peace, but that also just encompassed my second one with just how I treat people. I don't know what my third one would be, but at least my top 2 are my teeth and just my aura in general, because I've worked... Okay, I didn't work on my teeth. That's just genetics. I drank pop for a long fucking time, started take care of my teeth a little bit more as time progressed when I stopped drinking pop. Like, my biggest issue is I'd look at my smile and I'd notice like the the way that the sugar would break down the tooth enamel, and I noticed it build up on my teeth. I just didn't like that, so I'd brush it off. I'm like, oh, now it's gone. And I'm smart enough to connect the dots, like, oh, if I have too much high sugary shit, which Pop has a bunch of, then it's gonna break down the enamel, and I'm gonna always have this in like 2 or 3 days. And I used to let that shit go bad as fuck. Like my personal hygiene, not the best, sadly, and it's more or less because my mind. Like the more I come to realize, I'm undiagnosed a lot of things, but because money runs a lot of things, I'm just fucking crazy. I'm just loony. I belong dead. I get it, you racist motherfuckers. We're on the same team on that part. Just calm it down with the hanging. Give me a gun, maybe I'll do it myself. So it's like, I've come to learn people, and I'm going to keep saying that until you guys come to learn to use it yourself. So, as times progress, I've come to learn that people are going to do whatever the fuck they want to, wherever they drive themselves to do, and that's why I don't take too many things all that personal, because it can't be personal if you don't give a shit. If you don't, like, it might be a personalized attack to me, but it's just like, And I'm never quite sure when it's sufficing enough of disrespect to where I should, because I will smack the shit out of you for no reason. And that's the worst part. Like, I got itchy trigger finger, but it's illegal to be me. So I'm like, damn, it's illegal up in this bitch. It's illegal to think like E. So I just be producing the things I think that people would applaud me compared to, get the fuck in the back of this car before we hang you, goddamn motherfucker. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we shouldn't let these Negroes, these mulattoes, these fucking black folks free. They just be doing monstrous shit, but who's the school shooters mainly? They be doing stupid shit, but who's the public shooters being? Actually, public could be either way. Like, I literally have learned stereotypes, and I will admit I'm a little bit biased towards stereotypes, but I always have to remind myself, stop being racist, stop being programmed, stop it, Ethan. The shooter is not white just because it was at school. Not surprised. The shooter was not white just because it happened out in public. Actually, this one's not. The shooter, the domestic abuser is human, because the domestic abuse charge, that could be anybody, more or less. But I've come to learn not racism, but stereotypes. Sometimes they do have a truth to it. Some of them do have validity, and some of them are just a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. But I've come to learn, even when I was doing my junk removal job, I made up my own stereotypes about customers. It's just like, I would even tell the fucking people, I was like, okay, like, if they sounded like a XYZ ABC, I would literally be talking to the people in the car and be like, hey, I'm thinking because of what I came off of that this person's going to be like this, that. And I would say the success rate was probably 80%. Like, it clearly wasn't 100%, because I will admit there's times I got in the car with them like, you know what, I completely read them wrong. And there's times like, see, I fucking told you. That's why we do the things that we do. That's why you follow me. Follow my lead and we'll get through. Believe it or not, I'm actually a halfway decent leader because of the fact that nobody was patient with me. So I am very patient, which is why it's hard for me to figure out what's disrespectful, because like I keep saying, I'd bitch slap you guys just for the fuck of it. I got an itchy trigger finger. I'll fucking shoot people for walking slow, shoot people for moving too fucking fast, shoot people for explaining shit too long, shoot people for not explaining enough things. Just like, why? Oh. Okay. Because people were impatient with me, so I learned to be impatient, but at the same time, that's how we continue the generational bullshit of, why are people so mean, angry, and bitter? Oh, because people were mean, angry, and bitter in the past, so, I'll just keep it moving. So, like, they're passing on the mean shit. I'm hoping to pass on the nice shit, because don't get me wrong, it's easy for me to be mean. But when I think about being mean, and when I think about the reputation that it's going to gather me, because believe it or not, people don't forget interactions, even though I do sometimes. Like, I will forget shit, and people are like, hey, do you remember when you did this? I'm like, this is a good-ass story. Why the fuck don't I remember this? Or it's like, damn, this is a shitty That's a good reason. See, this is probably why I don't remember. I fucking threw up in this bitch. Why am I gonna want, like, throwing up for me personally? Not much of a problem. Like, I wouldn't say I enjoy throwing up, but like the dry heaving part, like, damn, just come out all right. And after I throw up, like, okay. But the heaving, imagine that, just fake throw up, projectile throw up. That'd be funny. I think I almost might have. Just in case. If I'm gonna overperform and accidentally do something, can't fuck up the gear shift box. I ain't rich. Like, if I was rich, I'd be destructive. If I was rich, I would just be demolishing shit and filming it just because I could. And I think at one point or another, I'd be demolishing shit and then having like a YouTube video of me destroying it and have me another video of me giving the exact same thing to somebody else. I bought one for me to destroy and I bought one for me to gift to people just because I don't want to be one of those assholes spending my money and just be like, look at me destroy shit, test the product, but like the money could have been spent better. Just so you guys know, thank you for the views. And I destroyed this car, I destroyed this cake, I destroyed this wall, I destroyed this house, I destroyed this bike, I destroyed this skateboard, but look what I gave to these people, just because it's just like, what the fuck are they doing? Maybe redoing the, what am I thinking of? Carpet, that's what it looks like. So it's like, I'm not saying rich people should be managed on how they spend their money, but I do think there should be a roof on how much money could be made, just because if there is no limit on how much money could be made, even though this country's in fucking ridiculous amount of debt. When the fuck did we go to 31T? Last time I checked, we were like 15T. That might have been a couple years ago. So like, I don't get how the fuck that shit work. How the fuck we could be so much debt and still be fucking charging people for shit, still be in so much fucking debt and still be having issues and shit. Like, how the fuck are you gonna be charging? Oh, they came all the way here just to dump that. Makes sense. Huh. Yeah, makes sense. It's only empty one. I'm literally looking at another dumpster right across from me, and that one's... I'd say they probably fit about a third of that shit in there. Take that trike, man. You look like you might have some grandkids. He grandpa age. You know what? It's actually not a bad idea. I'm just too lazy to do it. All right, so you know how people just get rid of shit, or people just don't want shit, or just... It's because I think about it like this, because of when I used to do the junk removal. There was a lot of stuff that people would get rid of and they just didn't want because they upgrade, because they're moving, because they're getting kicked out, because of, there's so many fucking variables. So at some point or another, it's coming to us for many reasons, or they just want to donate. So for the things that they just want to get rid of, some of us would just ask, hey, can we have it? And if the customer says yes, we're taking it. Now the company had different things, but my thought process is, so I'm waking up early, okay? I'm driving out to that fucking job, okay? Well, I'm driving out to the job, and then first I'm getting into the truck, and I make sure everything's hunky-dory, charge the customer, doing all that work, make sure we get the good review. And I still have to pay for shit! Fuck you. Like, I never grabbed anything, I would say, over $100 off the truck, but like, if I wanted it, I just fucking took it. Why? Because life's unfair. The treatment was kind of shit. It's just like... You're telling me I do all this work and I still gotta pay you like you did anything? Like, you know, like, technically speaking, you only have this customer because this customer wants shit getting rid of. And then you only still have this customer because I did my magic to get them to accept it. And then you had a good review. And then you wanted me to pay you. Like, there were some things I did bring up and I was able to get for free just because I brought in a lot of money and because... sometimes my charm works. Like, I don't even know how the fuck... People will call me charming. Oh yeah, that could be my number 3. People will call me charming and I'm just like... Did I learn how to develop a superficial charm and I don't even know how the fuck to use it? I don't. Literally, me out in public is basically like a grown-up kid. Like, where's this supervisor? Because I always think I don't really know how to do a lot of things when it comes to the economical standpoint of being able to pay your bills, buy find stamps. The whole shopping part I got pretty well decent. But everything else is just like, I know how most people act, and it's just like, come on, hurry the fuck up, I got somewhere to go. Thank you, all right, so I want this, that, this, and me out in public is just like, and no, I literally got headphones on all the time, I'm just like, and what I like to try to do is, okay, let's say people are standing this way, and because they're typically standing that way, that means their ass is facing toward, like, dick to butt, basically, and because just the way that I've seen how the scope that women, I'm not even quite sure if it's always true, how women see men in the gym, I've just taken that as like, I don't ever want to feel like a female is in danger when I step into the room. But because it's not all men, just like it's not all police officers, just like it's not all churchgoers. I'm talking about the pedophiles that are in church. It's not like it's all priests and pastors. Just like it's not all. What else is bad? And we all just say all, but it's not all. Yeah, fill that part in for you. Just like it's not all of them. I just want to make sure I don't fit the description. Like for the fact that I already have a penis, I kind of fit it. And facial hair, they're going to assume I'm a cisgendered male, but pain nails did come into a psychology trick, ladies and gentlemen. On top of getting people leave me the fuck alone because they're low-key homophobic, but they don't want to admit it, or they know they're homophobic, like, oh, this gay penis gobbler. I don't even like dick like that. I like people in general. Everybody's invited to my house within reason. Only females are in bed. Only females are invited into my bedroom. And if a trans person makes it through, I just hope you got the bottom surgery done. Like, I've even thought about it many times, like, how would I feel if I was in a sexual encounter, which I haven't had one yet, quite yet, and I got to a part where it comes down and we're stripping down to the bottoms and I see somebody has a penis. And I know how other people act, but I'm like, I have no reason to be, like, if I get angry and have an anger outburst, I'm going to explain this to you guys, just in case one happens out in the public. It's because I'm being wronged. And I feel as if I'm being wronged. I want people to notice. It's if I heard something about somebody that's very close to me that I consider family, that is family, being wronged, so I'm losing my shit. Or I'm entertaining. But that's more or less going to be easily seen. That's why I'm keeping it separate from the other two, because it's going to probably be on stage. And so that's the only times that you're really going to see me wig out of control. Like, I'm so fucking key about being in control. That's the main reason why I don't like going out in public. Main reason why I don't fucking like drinking. Like, I learned what my limits are to drinking and how I am in a sort, but I don't really know who I am. And like, one thing I know, like I said earlier, it's gonna keep going around and bounce around ever. One thing that I was thinking about as I was driving around doing these earlier in the day errands was, I remember people brought up a question of, hey, Ethan, what are you scared of? And I was stopping and thinking about it, and it's just like, a lot of the things I was scared of when I was younger really isn't, because I used to be scared of the dark. I love that bitch now. Sparrows used to terrify me. I've got like 8 of them bitches up in my room right now. Clowns used to terrify me. I'm pretty sure I just did that just for hell of it. Like, one thing I've learned about life is if you don't act normal, if you don't act accordingly, if you act too strange, if you act right. What the fuck does that mean? Acting right according to what I've learned typically means you need to have some sense of fear with fluent availability to be able to range your emotions from happiness to anger to acceptance to denial. And that's why I feel like I'm always an imposter in certain rooms, because this is the most recent thing that I just went through. And I don't get me wrong, I literally have the issue in certain instances where it's separating a paycheck from a heart. And because I'm a caretaker, some clients, I will admit, I do get a very close connection to, and it fucking hurts, But the problem with me hurting the way that other people hurt is I don't really cry out that much. Like, I don't know if it's because ever since I was very fucking young, I'm adopted. Everybody around me is literally adopted family members. So no family to me has ever died, because my family was gone before I even really had a family. So I feel like because of that, it makes it a little bit harder for me to cry out for people, but I still can cry. Don't get me wrong. Typical is like one tear. Like, I don't really do that ugly crying all that often. I do it. I do it. I will admit. I used to think it was cool and impressive not to cry, but turns out that's the reason why people do even more fucked up shit. They just never let it out. You have so much access built up shit, and the fucked up part is it's gonna let its way out one way or another. You're gonna do it through your fists, you're gonna do it through your eyes. I choose it this way because at least I get to wake up and be free. Well, whatever version of free there still is in life. So it's just trying to figure out what best works for me in society, regardless of what other people say, because other people are always going to have judgments. Other people are always going to have arguments. Other people are always going to think what they do runs supreme. But as long as I'm not hurting people, as long as I'm not raping people, as long as I'm not molesting people, as long as I'm not doing any of my cardinal sins that I made up for me, I don't care. But it just took me so long to develop that ability after learning how to act right, act accordingly. Because if I didn't learn to act right, act accordingly, y'all think I'd be this free? No. I already learned the story about what the fuck happens when you do this too much. How's it bad to fucking smile too much? Currently, there's two elderly ladies getting in the car next to me as I'm doing this. Like, there's always people walking around as I'm making videos and stuff like that. I just don't always bring attention. I'm just confused as to why they're still here having like a little bit of a conversation as they're getting in the car. It's just, I'm making this note just in case it ever becomes anything more than that. I'm aware, but oh, another cool trick. Aside from the whole entire, if you smile too much, you might get locked up into an asylum for. You're too happy. You were shot. Why are you smiling? You were molested. Why are you smiling? You're in jail. Why are you smiling? You got robbed. Why are you smiling? Well, to answer the question quite simply, I have come to learn that life is a catastrophe. There are many ways that I could choose to deal with this. I figure, well, fuck it. There's no way I could change it. It already happened, so what can I really do? I could be upset. I could cry. I could let whatever the fuck I need to. But what I really need to do is keep prevailing because I can't kill myself. They say keep pushing through. It will always get better. It will get better. It will get better. It will get better. Bitch, it never started off good to begin with, but it will get better. It will get better. It could only get better. It was never good to start off. So I'd assume. Like, I literally stop and think about how much worse could it be and how better it has gotten from where it originally was. But first I have to be able to remember where it was and where it's going, where it is now. And that's the problem sometimes. And I try to take it from the mindset when I interact with people outside because I used to be assumptive. I don't know if it's a word, but it sounds like one. Assumptive. I used to assume shit. And at this point, I'm done doing that because I don't know, and I only know as much as you're willing to tell me, assuming that you're telling the truth. And I only know as much as I'm willing to listen to, assuming that I'm actually present in the moment, whatever the fuck that means. So I keep thinking every time that I'm out in public, because I used to think like this when I used to drive out long distances for work, women, or I didn't really drive out that far for weed, but work or women. And when I'd be driving, I'd be like, you know what? I know I've been on this drive for like 45 minutes, but I'd see cars going past me, and I'd see different license plates like Ohio, Texas, Indianapolis. And I'd be like, you know what? I wonder if they're in town, if they're moved here but I haven't switched it yet. I wonder how long they've been driving. I wonder if they've been driving for 13 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours. I've been driving for 15 minutes. Now I'll step into restaurants or something like that, gas station or something like that, and I'll look at people. I'm always thinking, I wonder where they came from. I wonder what upbringing they had. I wonder. And some of the wonders do get answers to them. And some of them, it's just, and that's because I never stop fucking thinking. And for the fact that I never stop thinking, I don't always realize how rude I may be coming off because I don't realize in all the forms that everybody has a certain level of emotional availability that they want when it comes to the engagements and conversations. And sometimes I am overdoing the emotional engagement. Sometimes I'm underdoing it. And it's just like, And I will realize when I'm looking at things, I'm literally, as I'm looking at someone or something, I'm over analyzing what all I'm thinking currently. Oh, how long has it been? Have they had tires rotated? Oh, where are they coming? Where are they going? All this and all that. And I will zone out while doing that and not really realizing how long I'm doing it for, which I try not to do that all too often. Like, I'll look at it and then try to have that zone out thought, because if I have that zone out thought when I'm looking at it, then it's just like, fuck happened? Oh, shit. Or I'll be looking at somebody and it's just like, and eventually I look up a little bit higher, nose their eyes, because it's not necessarily where I'm zoned out, but I'll zone out and then I'll zone back in for a hot second to look at what I'm doing, just to make sure, because if I'm out in public, which happens, I will zone out because I'm not allowed to do, oh yeah, the whole entire, not the butt. I used to stand like this and I still do, just because I'm not trying to make you guys fucking feel scared. Like, not all, but like, I got the parts. I guess I could be one of those. And then, where was I at the last part? Before I went back to the line part. And then, like I keep saying, if I'm out in public, I would try not to stare too much at people, just because with all the information that's always going in, it's always just like, there's never not a moment that I don't feel like I'm in the wrong. There's never not a moment that I don't feel like I'm in the right. But there are certain times I always feel like I'm in the absolute one or the other. And then there's some moments that I'm just like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Fuck it, shoot me, stab me. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it, take this, take that. I don't even fucking want to be here. I get aggressively negative like I do aggressively positive. But I try not to. I'm very in control regardless of what I may portray on my YouTube, because how well do you guys test your shit anyways? And what I mean by that is, you love your love, you love the friends, you love the family, you love all this and all that, but what have you done to test any of them to make sure it's good? Did you guys just meet each other? And that's one issue that I've had, and which is why I'm glad I was raised an orphan, because a lot of family members that I met, it's just like, we're family. Why? Because we came from the same vagina? I ain't come from the same vagina from any of these fucking people. But what I would consider family to be, and what I've come to learn through watching TV shows and movies, is, at least the animes have taught me, most of their friendships are forged off of they went through a battle together. And they were able to find either a common enemy, or the main character was coming along and said, oh, they need help, and they were willing to help them. And then from there on, they were able to find common grounds, find common interests. Rather it's the interest to become stronger, rather if it's the interest to become smarter, rather if the interest is to find that one piece, or rather if that person's interest that they found was just to help that person reach their higher thing. And that's why I've come to learn about certain friendships. I'm like, why am I even friends with certain people? And I've come to stop and think about it, like, we're only friends because we smoke weed. We're only friends because we work out together. We're only friends because we work together. We're only friends because X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And it's just like, sometimes it's only because of proximity. Sometimes it's only because of learning purposes. Sometimes because of this, sometimes because of that. And I've always told myself I've never be friends with somebody purely off of just because they're rich and they had a lavish lifestyle. Until this day, I still say I'm pretty good about that. Like, I wouldn't say I have any fucking rich friends, but that also be considered a little bit of a lie, because, like, the sole reason why I'm around people is because of the whole entire, I don't want to be ostracized from the group. And because you need to have a social standing to be in the community, is what I've come to learn. And I don't have the education, the wherewithal, which could still be education, and location to be able to fucking live off of the grid. So it's just like, I have to learn how to socialize with the community, but I still have to find the community group for me, because there's a group for everybody. And I can say that blanket terming everybody and still be correct, because I'm not wrong about that one. I've stopped and thought about it. I'm like, really? Everybody's got a home on this planet. You just gotta fucking figure out where the fuck it is. Everybody, or they become extinct. Now, I don't know what fucking forms of personality traits or forms of hobbies ever became extinct, but I know animals that became extinct, and you know what? They don't have a home for here. So that blanket term, technically speaking, still would encompass everybody, because they're not bodies no more. They're dead. They're dead bodies. Every living body, I guess, should have been. I don't know. Somebody, if they want to be technical about it, get me on this word jousting shit. But I'm not here to start arguments. I'm not here to finish them. I'm just here to ask questions, figure out what the problem is. And I'm essentially, I guess, trying to solve some problems, but the biggest problem is me in my life, because I can only perceive my reality. So the more problems I solve in my world, the easier it is to solve the other issues outside of my world. So the main reason why I try not to be bitter or angry towards people out in public, even if I am in a bitter or angry mood, is because how do I expect people to approach me well when I don't approach others well? And as a child, I was nice because all children have to be nice. They have to be nice. They have to be nice. They have to be nice. Why the fuck are you a mean child? Oh, you're so cute. You'll probably grow out of it. Why the fuck are you a mean adult? Why the fuck are you such a mean child? Oh, you're so cute. You might grow out of it. Nip it in the butt. Brings me back to another story. So I was hanging out with this family I know, and the little one, which has known me basically since she was born, is finally into soccer. And her sister, I ain't never had to deal with this before. I've dealt with a lot of kids from many age ranges, and I'm trying to figure out the most progressive way to deal with it. So we're at her in the most calmest, because I'm not the parent. I can't just fucking yell, and I could have just been like, your baby's stealing shit, here you go. But like I said, I like to solve problems. So little sister's out in the field. Baby sis is playing and hanging out with Uncle E the whole entire time. And I'm just thinking, what can I do? What can I do? Like, we're just out here, we're running around. I'm just like, yeah, okay, just walk with the baby, keep the baby away from other people and other shit. Like, everybody likes to play with babies to a certain extent, some people too fucking much. And I'm just thinking, don't have this baby not learning what people's boundaries are, consent and stuff like that, because the baby's still learning how to speak. I'm just like, all right, every time it goes too close to people, just pick up and turn around. Every time it goes too far from us, or too far from where we're playing, because like I said, I followed the baby. I don't mean like us, I mean like the whole entire group. Because I'd literally walk right next to it, right behind it, or I wouldn't be too much in front of it, because if I can't see it, I can't fucking see it. It's too damn small. If it got too far, I'd pick it up, turn it the opposite way. So we got to the point where the baby kept trying to take the ball, just like a soccer ball, because she sees Sissy playing with it. I can kind of get that process. There's a bunch of soccer balls because we're at the soccer complex. It makes fucking sense. So a little kid wants to play soccer. Guess who else plays soccer? Well, guess who else plays soccer aside from Sissy? Edu. So I came there, and if I don't have my car, I probably don't have soccer with me, and I probably don't have any water with me. I carry these things because the life that I live, I come equipped for it, because how am I supposed to have you guys equipped for the things of my life when you guys either barely don't know me, or it's not your guys' hassle once I leave? So it's my life, so I better learn how to fucking make it work for me, or it's really not going to work for me now, is it? So I always carry a soccer ball with me, and I realized that after I watched her try to take like the second or third ball, like she was ended up taking a pink one, and she ended up finding some dude and his daughter they're willing to play for a little bit. What I came to learn about her is she would be a good goalie. Right now, nothing else. She wanted to pick up the ball and she wanted to throw it, but she wasn't too friendly with it. And I'm just like, yeah, goalie. Two things: not your ball, and she was friendly enough to play with you. Why won't you play with her? And I tried to get her to play with her. I'm like, come on, little, play with her, and she would. So I'm just like, this looks bad. I'm not the parent. I'm not stepdad either. I am just Uncle E. But I'm not like, every time I'm out in public with Caucasian or anybody that doesn't look like me, I always feel like I want to stop them. Like, wait, it's not what it looks like. I'm actually, but at the same time, it's like, what the fuck does it matter? You're probably not going to see me anymore outside of this, or you're going to assume what you want to. I can say what the fuck that I want to. It doesn't mean you're going to believe it. You're going to see what you're going to see. You're going to assume what you're going to assume. Fuck, they might have even assumed I was just a babysitter instead of a stepdad or a step-parent or anything like that. But it always assumes to me, just because of how people used to always do it when I was a little bit younger and I used to hang out with chicks. Back when I was in my busier day of moving around and just socializing with people, I would have this girl that call me up and have her take errands and stuff like that. I would be hanging out in public, and like, I can be playful with anybody. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if you're Down syndrome. It doesn't matter if you're Alzheimer's. It doesn't matter if you're old. It doesn't matter if you're young. It doesn't matter. I can be playful with anybody, allowing that you like playfulness. But if you don't like playfulness, you just want to be serious, then I can be serious too. Like, I can be bitter and grungy. That's why people say I talk too much and I don't talk enough, because I talk too much to those that just don't want to listen to anything. I don't talk enough to those that want to hear stuff, but like, don't allow the open availability to let other people speak. So it's just like, sure you want to listen to other people speak? I do get sometimes to go on rants like I'm currently doing right now, which is why I like to be able to do it in my own little area, because I sometimes will feel as if I'm taking up other people's airtime. It's like we only have as much time as we have around each other, and there's only so much time within a day, and there's only so much, and it's just like, I'm sorry if I speak too much. I'm sorry if I overgo my time, but I didn't know we were timing this. So if you get pissed at me for speaking too much, I just won't speak to you at all and make it simple for us, okay? That's how extreme I be, not even intentionally, just be like that for me. Simply how I think simplistically is what I think to see. But everybody else be like, yeah, label here. Fuck, I forgot where I was originally. Be cautious of yourself, your environment, and those that you keep close to you. The sharpest knife will kill you quick. The dullest knife will take a while. I always try to keep sharp things around me because I figure if it's going to hurt, at least it'll be done quickly. So I would assume. Well, sometimes I am the dullest thing around me, which is why it's so painful to think and realize and tear this all out. Oh yeah, kid steal ball. So I eventually just went out to my car and brought that ball I showed you guys earlier, and just had her playing with that one, so I didn't have to go with the whole entire, and oh yeah, explain the fact that we're not dating, we're just friends, we're just people that know each other. There's such thing as adoption, there's this, there's that. There's a million things. It's just like, you're going to believe what the fuck you're going to want to, and I don't want to spend time and energy to explain it to you guys because, it takes too long. Assume what you want. If you really want to know, you're going to ask, which is why I also think if people want to tell me anything, they're going to tell me. And I know this because people tell me things I didn't even think about asking. But at the same time, the things I'm thinking about asking, I'm just like, don't say it. Don't say it. don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Every other time you said things that you thought about asking, people got upset, but that's not them people. This is new people. Restart, restart, restart. But they've also gotten upset at you for saying things that aren't even nowhere nearly of things that you would consider this to be as bad. So like, don't say it, don't say it, do say it, don't, dead, do. You miss any chance you don't take, but who's to say this was even a good shot for me to take? Like, what the fuck do you mean? There's no room for it. And I keep thinking about that as in like, I never know when the right time is to compliment somebody. I never know when the right time is to share your feelings. I never know when the right time to do any of this is, just because when I was growing up, there was never the time for any of it and we couldn't afford it. So there's always that too. Couldn't afford it and there's no time for it. And we couldn't afford to make time for it. And as an adult, I keep trying to pick that apart and trying to figure out, well, clearly I've made time for the things that I would say I didn't have time for, because that soccer event that I was supposed to go to, technically speaking, I said I wasn't going to be able to make it because I was going to a poetry thing earlier in the day that I didn't really know how long it was going to take. So I just said I wasn't going to go, and then I checked the soccer thing and I was like, oh, okay, I can make it. So I can make it to stuff, and I feel as if I'm better about being aware of how I feel compared to actually being able to internalize and feel the way that I feel, which, I don't know, might sound weird, but if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. It is what it is. Might have parked like an asshole, I might have. I don't know. I think that's about everything I want to get off my head before I go to sleep or something like that. Like, my head's always fucking heavy. And how I think about therapy is basically the same way I think about a doctor, a body shop, and a lawyer. You ain't gonna fix me. You only make money when I need issues, when I have issues. So if you fix all my issues, then aren't you kind of putting yourself out of a business? Which is why I want to be an entertainer and like stand-up comedy, because people find me entertaining, people find me funny, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't have to be. Motherfucker, I'm alcohol mixed with acid and shrooms. Why the fuck you drinking me? Who the fuck let this kid in this goddamn room? Get this motherfucker out of here. I'll talk to anybody that'll talk and listen to me, and for the fact that I am who the hell I am, I can talk to just about as well too, because I have to be able to switch the way for them to get me. Like, I would say one of my favorite things about me is being able to spot the intelligence of people, but have been some instances where I just completely missed it, and it's who they portray and what I'm willing to see. Or they could be portraying themselves as who they truly are, but I'm still missing the picture. It is what it is. And I don't expect anybody to believe anything, but you're going to believe what you want to. These are my stories, even though people tell me I have a story to tell, I don't always feel as if I do. And I all started off when I was young, as most things do for most people, and I'm trying to think of, I think I was just overdoing the accolades. And then just learning whatever that lady said, or the lady said, for as much backwards as she was and for as much as she lied, it's just like, for the fact that I can never tell when she is telling the truth, I've just came to the blanket term of assuming whatever she says is a lie. And for the fact that one thing that kind of irks and irritates me is people will say, you're showing off. And I'm only saying that, and I only feel so spiteful towards it, because it's just like, what the fuck do you mean I'm showing off? I'm just doing what the fuck I do. Like, it's not intended to grab any attention. I already grab attention as a melanated person in the Caucasian community, that there's not many melanated. I will admit it has been getting more melanated integrated because of the Tri-Cities that surround us. But growing up I was definitely always getting attention without even having to learn how to show off. But at the same time, I was always alone, never had anybody really hang out with or talk to. Like, instances, met some friends for a little bit, but most of my childhood, I would say, was alone. Even though I grew up with a bunch of siblings, but you ever been in the room, still feel like the only motherfucker in there? Exactly. It's just, if you get it, you do, and if you don't, well, I just hope you don't have any power. Like, I hope you're not a judge. I hope you're not a doctor. I hope you're not a lawyer. I hope you're not a real estate salesperson or a landlord. I also hope you're not any sort of business owner, just in case I didn't already say that. I hope you have no power that, I hope you have no power over any beings, essentially. Because I would say the fact that I overthink is just because the fact that I get so many things, it's just hard to be able to look like I get anything, where it's just like, what are you gonna know, you fucking black melanated youthful piece of shit? Nothing, Clans member, but thank you for letting me know I can't talk to you anymore. And thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Also, hi, biggest fan. That golden, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I expect my biggest fan to comment on this at one point or another. So I see you in the comment section later. But for everybody else, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoy the day that you deserve. And I hope, I don't know.